in Chiswick for around about 30 years, and it's fantastic. There's so many musicians around. There's quite a few professional musicians and a lot of non-professional musicians who've become very, very good friends. So it's just a lovely place to be a musician.
So you came over here from South Africa to go to the Royal College of Music, and your very first job was with the English Chamber Orchestra. How was that?
Well, that was really amazing, actually. I'd done 3 years undergraduate at the Royal College and then 2 years postgrad. And then to come out and suddenly find yourself working with the likes of, George Malcolm, Murray Pariah, Yo-Yo Ma, these absolutely world-class musicians was just, it was so exciting. And also to start playing with that repertoire and there was a lot of travel, so it was just a really fantastic job, wonderful time.
And then you went to the London Mozart Players, where you were lead violin.
Yes, I stayed with the English Chamber Orchestra for about 7 years, and then freelance for a couple of years. And in 1991, I think, Jane Glover appointed me as leader of the London Mozart Players, which again was I stayed there until 2010.
Do you have a favourite bit of music from that time?
Oh, let me see if I can remember anything. Recognise that?
I do recognise that, thank goodness, yes I do. But then you went off travelling around the world busking, and most people do that the other way around. They want to become a professional musician, but they busk because they can't get a job. You gave up a perfectly good, well-paying job and went busking.
I had a significant birthday in 2007.
So we're talking midlife crisis.
We are, yes, yeah. And we started out at Turnham Green. I had a fantastic send-off on the first day of the Bedford Park Festival, which was absolutely amazing. I think possibly people were very, very generous because they gave me enough to get almost to the other side of the world, but not enough to come back. And then I went around Europe for a bit, where I discovered that whereas being a young person, standing on the street corner, actually it was quite easy to earn a lot of money. Being a middle-aged man, standing by yourself in the street corner is an altogether different matter. But anyway, I struggled to Europe for about 2.5 weeks. Then went to Uganda, to South Africa, across to Australia, up through Southeast Asia, and then I had to come back to the UK for a festival I run in Dorset.
What was the piece of music that earned you the most money?
Well, as I say, I was playing the Bach's music for solo violin, and there's this one which... and then it gets difficult, so I won't go on. That was the prelude from the E major parties, and I worked out when I played that, I think all the bowing I did that, I played that probably about 15 times a day, and I worked out with the bowing, I must have done about 350 miles of bowing just on that one piece. So.
What do you think about the reaction to a middle-aged man playing then? Because that's quite interesting. It's quite sad, isn't it?
I did feel a bit sad at times, actually. One of the things as a musician is, it's a kind of job where, to be honest, I walk out on stage and people start clapping for me before I've even done anything. You get a lot of approval, a lot of applause, a lot of people saying thank you as a musician. When you go out onto the street, you suddenly become slightly invisible. And I remember I was in Zurich and I was having a really hard time. I wasn't earning any money at all. I would watch people walking down the street towards me, and I'd see the hand would go into the pocket, and I'd think, all right, he's getting his wallet out. But it's sort of mobile phone would come out, and they'd walk past, sort of clasping a phone to it. And people just, it was like you got shut out. And
it's ironic because presumably you were a much better player than you were at 20.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. But actually, later on that day, I went and stood on the steps of the Turnhalle Concert Hall, and it was an amateur orchestra we were playing that night. So I thought, right, well, I'll stand on the steps and it'll be absolutely fun. I think I earned 2 Swiss francs in about half an hour. It was really absolutely terrible. And 6 months later, I was standing on stage there playing solo, and earned considerably more. But it's actually it tells you something about people. You know, if people see you in a particular position, they pigeonhole you immediately, and it's very, very hard to change people's mind.
So another Baroque composer who's played a very important part in your musical life is Vivaldi. Tell me about recording the Four Seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been very lucky to have worked closely with Raymond Gubby Limited, who promote Vivaldi by candlelight concerts at, well, our next one's at the Royal Festival Hall and right around the country. And it's fantastic, great bunch of people to play with. It does mean I've played the Four Seasons a lot.
You released it as an album. And
yes.
How is that? Because, I mean, it must be very difficult to bring something different to it, something new to it, or maybe you're not supposed to, I don't know.
Well, no, I think you are. I think that's one of the really interesting things about being a musician, is that we play these pieces. A lot of people ask her, how many times have you played the Four Seasons? My wife says I shouldn't say, but it's in the hundreds. But what is really great is after you've played a piece 40 or 50 times, no matter how creative you are, you've probably run out of variations or ways you can actually rejig it. And it becomes more challenging then, and just finding that sort of, that sense of spontaneity and stuff. So I love, I say to the orchestra when we play, well, we're not going to rehearse very much, and we're just going to go out on stage and muck around a bit, have a bit of fun.
Just as you are now.
Yep.
So does being a professional musician let you out of doing DIY and gardening, cooking, using sharp knives?
If only. No. I mean, you can't avoid it. I actually a few years ago, we were trimming a tree in the back garden, and I fell over while we were doing it, and I felt a sort of little bit of a kind of crack in my hand as I went down. Had a concert the next day, could hardly put my fourth finger down on the string, and I was about to go off on a tour to Russia, to Moscow and St. Petersburg. So I thought, I better just have that checked beforehand. Went along to casualty, they x-rayed and found I'd broken my finger in 2 places. So I had to ring the orchestra manager from the consultant's waiting room and said, look, I'm afraid I'm only a 3-fingered violinist at the moment. What do you think? And we decided between us, probably the best thing wasn't to let the conductor know that there was anything wrong. In fact, I didn't tell anyone.
Can you make up the work of a 4th finger?
Actually, it's amazing. You can. I mean, when luckily we were doing sort of classic rock kind of stuff like that. So 3 fingers was all you needed for that particular.
Okay. So 3 fingers rock, 4 fingers classical. You play all sorts of music, though, don't you? You're not constrained by the desire to play chamber orchestra music. I mean, tango is a big thing for you.
Absolutely, yeah. I formed a tango quintet about 10 years ago, London Tango Quintet. And actually it was my wife who introduced me to the music of Astor Piazzolla. That was way back in the beginning of the 90s. And I mean, that's become a big sort of passion of mine. It's fantastic music to play. It's very expressive, but you get to do a lot of other sort of kind of things, which I love doing.
And we're talking just before the Bedford Park Festival 2018. And for this, you have a new band which has been named by Predictive Text, I believe.
Yes, yeah, we go by, in fact, it's our first concert. It's, I think we're a bit of a super group. And so we had to have a name which kind of fitted the way we saw ourselves. So we yes, as you said, we were on the losing end of a battle with predictive text, but we came up with the name The Pig Heroes.
And what will you be playing for Bedford Park Festival?
We're going to be doing a little bit of cabaret music, some Leonard Bernstein.
From Berlin to Bernstein.
From Berlin to Bernstein, then we're playing. Recognize it?
Mac the Knife.
Can I have a break?
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much.